Hello, welcome to the Hawthorn Cottagecraft podcast. Today is Tuesday the 15th of December 2020. I'm Kate. You can find me on Instagram as Kate_Hawthorncottagecraft, on Ravelry as ARunnerBean, and we have a Ravelry group called Hawthorn Cottagecraft Podcast, so please feel free to come and join that. Any of my details are in the description box below and you can follow those there. You're very welcome if you're here for the first time, and you're more than welcome back if you are a returning viewer. It's been lovely to see new people join our community over the last little while. It warms my heart to know that we're all knitting together during this year. Today's podcast is a little different in that I'm announcing 2 knit-alongs that are going to start in January. I wanted to give you time to prepare. With a couple of weeks left of this year, and just it gives you a chance to be ready for the beginning of the month and the beginning of these KALs. The KALs, I decided to do these particular KALs as much to help me out as to help anybody else out. I have a shelf of single skeins, and I have a shelf of books. I'm not very good with this pointing thing. A shelf of books, and they inspired both these KALs. If you have been following my Vlogmas, you will have seen me starting to discuss one of them yesterday and prepare for one of these KALs yesterday on day 14 of Vlogmas. But the first KAL that is starting at the beginning of January on the 1st is a lucky Dip KAL. And I'll put the hashtag at the bottom, and that'll be the hashtag that you can use throughout this KAL. As I said, this top shelf, my sense of direction when I'm doing this is terrible, is full of single skeins, as I said. Particularly in the early days of my serious knitting, I would have bought a lot of single skeins of sock yarn. Too many to actually get used particularly quickly, and I very soon became more of a garment knitter where I was buying garment amounts of yarn. But I have all these beautiful single skeins of sock yarn that I want to use, and I need to be inspired to use them. So what I decided to do was to choose 12 skeins of yarn, and that's what I would like you to do. Choose 12 skeins of yarn from your stash, or if you need to add to your stash, that's more than acceptable if that's what you wish to do. But I'm choosing to use 12 skeins of yarn that I have. It's a mix of indie dyers and a mix of commercial yarn, so it's not all the fancier yarns. There's commercial yarn in there that I love to knit socks with because I find them very, very hard wearing. I picked the 12 and I put them into little bags. You can wrap them however you want. I had these little bags, and I put one in each bag and then put them into a basket just for me to make them look pretty. There's only one skein, and you don't have to do this, there's only one skein that I have marked that I definitely know which month I want to do it. So I've put a little bit of Christmas ribbon in it because it's the Christmas skein. A couple of years ago, 2018, I picked up Adelaide Cottage's Vlogmas 2018 colourway, and that's what I'd like to do in December. So that's the only one I know. My plan is to choose a bag. I really don't know what's in each bag. I might even get one of the family members just to make sure that I don't know what's in a bag, to pick out a bag at the beginning of the month. I plan to knit socks with mine. You can knit whatever you like with one skein. It's a single skein project. It could be a little shawlette, it could be a hat, socks, whatever you like. Each month or each project you complete, I would ask that you make a note of it and post it on the Ravelry group. I will have a thread there for finished objects. There will also be a thread for chatters, so any chat that you want to do or any questions you want to ask each other about your projects, if you keep it to that, so that the finished object thread, it's easier to pull for prizes. So put in all your projects when you have them finished from your little bag. There should be one a month really. At the end of each quarter. So at the end of March, at the end of June, etc., I will pull one prize for each quarter from that quarter and the finished objects there. And then at the end of the year, on the 31st of December, I'll pull again from the entire year a grand prize. So there will be a prize each quarter for the projects finished within that quarter. So now's the time to start to poke around, or maybe it could be that it becomes part of your wish list for Christmas, a skein of yarn. As I said, go back to yesterday's Vlogmas Day 14 if you want to see how I did it, and put them together, and you'll be ready to go for the 1st of January for the lucky Dip KAL. And all the details will be in the description box below, and then on the Ravelry group thread for the lucky Dip KAL. That was the first KAL. The second KAL is knitting the Books KAL. I love knitting books, and I have quite a range back here of magazines and books that I have collected, and occasionally I knit from them. I have knit a few sweaters from the Lina magazine, and my Writing to Avalon's out of a book that I have. But I have great intentions when I get a book, and I mark the patterns I like. And this month I have been actually going through a lot of my books and writing down the patterns that I like so that I can easily find them again. But I get caught up very easily on the latest pattern that's come out, or I start to search through Ravelry and buy another pattern, which is all very good, and I love that, and I have a great Ravelry queue. But my books are going to waste. So my intention for the first 3 months, so this KAL will run from the 1st of January to the 31st of March 2021, and it will be knitting the books. So if you have a book on your shelf, or a range of books on your shelves, go and have a search and have a look and find a pattern that you would like to knit, or patterns. You can knit as many as you want. There is no restriction on the type of pattern. It could be toys, it can be garments, socks, any form of accessory. It's not a particular pattern that you have to knit. It just has to be from your book. And just as an aside, any of these projects can be knit or crochet. I know some of you are crocheters more than knitters, and that is perfectly acceptable. I just use the term knit along because it's knitting that I primarily do. So it can be crochet or knitting. Any pattern that you like. Again, there will be a thread in the Ravelry group for chatter for the Knitting the Books KAL, but there will also be a finished object thread. And you can post as many times as you like. Obviously, the more you post, the more chance you have of winning a prize at the end. And in the one thing I do ask is that when you're taking a photograph of your finished project, you also take a photograph of the book that you have used for the project, and it'll give everybody else inspiration, and we can see some of the range of books. I'm sure there will be a vast array of knitting or crochet books. So that's the Knitting the Books KAL. It's running from, as I said, the 1st of January to the 31st of March, and there will be a prize at the end of the KAL for that as well, and I will be drawing randomly from the group. So a short episode to let you know what is going on in January in Hawthorn Cottagecraft and what I plan to do for the year. It helps me plan and organise. I don't do the make 9 because I find it just too restrictive, and I know that once I would put those 9 down, I would feel I have to knit those 9. My mind changes all the time, so this gives me a little bit more freedom, and I hope that you enjoy and join in these KALs. They're a lot of fun. There's always a lot of chat, and yeah, it'll help us get through stash and use what we have at this time. Feel free to join other KALs and use the projects that you use here. You can double dip unless they have restrictions within their KALs. You can certainly double dip, and I know one KAL that is coming up in one podcast that I think I will incorporate into my Knitting the Books KAL that I want to use there. But I'll reveal all that in January. Feel free now to get prepared for these, and I'm looking forward to you joining me on the 1st of January.